The SnapMaker U1 has redefined what I thought was possible with multicolor FDM printers. Using a tool changer like the U1 means that purge waste is almost non-existent, opening up the door to a ton of projects that just didn't make sense on AMS-style printers. So after months of printing with this machine, I think it's time to revisit a topic that I wrote off as impractical just a few months ago: Multicolor FDM Miniatures. At the time, to print this design by SuperPrints, it took nearly 300 grams of wasted material for a model barely 2 inches tall. And sure, the amount of waste would stay the same if you were printing an entire plate full of these models, but even then you're probably only breaking even. So let's go ahead and grab another model and take a look at what a similar project might look like on the U1. These Goblin models, also by SuperPrints, are like their other designs, sculpted and pre-painted for multicolor printing. On a traditional AMS-style printer, these models would take somewhere in the realm of 29 hours to print, with almost 400 grams of wasted purged filament. But printing the same model on the U1, where we don't need to purge material, this becomes a 5-hour print, where the only waste is that prime tower, sitting at around 40 grams, roughly 10% of how much waste an AMS-style system would spit out. And as we'll see soon, this tower could likely be optimized further, helping to reduce this number even more. If you've seen any of my other videos covering the U1, it should be no surprise that these prints turned out great, with quite literally the only waste being that prime tower. Now, as amazing as these models by SuperPrints are, they're not the type of mini that I would typically print for my games. So today I want to take a look at some more complex miniature sculpts and see if the U1 can keep the same level of quality in those more complex prints. Before we do move on though, I'll be sure to leave some links down below to SuperPrints' work. If you're interested in picking up some models specifically designed for multicolor FDM printing, they have an incredible library that is definitely worth checking out. But to really put the U1 through its paces today, I'm going to turn to another of my favourite sculptors, Arbiter Miniatures, who also has some incredible goblin designs. To really see how this goes, I think we'll print up two versions of the same design. Firstly, this version of their Goblin Shaman, which prints without supports. And then we'll try print up this version, which is something rather unique to Arbiter Minis, Advanced FDM, where they use resin-style tree supports dialed in and specifically tested for FDM printing with a 0.2mm nozzle. Of course, unlike SuperPrints models, these miniatures are not specifically designed for multicolor printing, so we are going to have to assign the colors ourselves. Luckily, Arbiter's designs are done in such a way that there is usually a pretty clear seam between elements of the model, making it easy enough to use the bucket tool in SnapMaker Orca to fill in most of the colors, then just coming in with the sphere tool where needed to paint in the last few pieces, which all up took me about 10 minutes. We are of course limited to 4 colors, by nature of the U1's 4 toolheads, but just using that same simple palette that we had earlier, it does look like we'll get a pretty interesting looking model. Though before we can actually send the file over to the U1, we need to make a quick change to the printer itself. I mentioned before that Arbiter Mini's sculpts are designed to print with a 0.2mm nozzle, to catch all of the detail packed into these sculpts. And it just so happens that I have finally managed to get my hands on some 0.2mm nozzles for the U1. Admittedly, swapping these over was a bit of a process. Not difficult by any stretch, but a far cry from the quick swap nozzle systems I have been treated to on most multicolor capable machines that I've used. And in all my time using the U1, this is the only part of the experience that I would describe as feeling dated, so to speak. And for me, where this is primarily my terrain printing machine, I just don't see myself swapping between nozzles often. It was just too much of a hassle. And buying 4 extra tool heads just to make this easier is not something I could truly recommend to anyone. Regardless, with a few twists of an Allen key, a few cables swapped over, and all the print heads reinstalled, we are ready to start printing some miniatures. And honestly, I was expecting to hate these prints. 4 colors was just so limiting, and I thought that these would come out looking simple and garish. But actually having these in my hand has kind of changed my mind. It doesn't replace painting, not by a long shot, but as a tabletop-ready miniature, straight off the printer, it's pretty damn good. That's not to say that the prints are perfect. I haven't really dialed in my settings for these new nozzles yet, so some of the finer details ended up being more delicate than I'd expect from a PLA miniature. Both models lost a few of the tiny bones on the base, and the staff snapped with relatively minor pressure, but those feel more like tuning issues than limitations of the process itself. As someone who tries to spend as much of their hobby time painting miniatures as possible, I still prefer a paintbrush. But as a tabletop-ready model straight off the printer, I'm still surprised at how effective these could be. In fact, seeing this model printed up in what I would essentially call its base colors, it has me wondering what it might look like with a quick wash. But before we do that, we do have one more model that needs printing, that advanced FDM version. Now, if you are enjoying this video and maybe want to help support the channel, the Painted for Combat Patreon is by far the best way to do so. For as little as $2, you can jump into our awesome community Discord, pick up my printer profiles and other tools, or at the higher STL tiers, get access to our monthly releases of STL bases, perfect for your FDM printers, like our release for June, the Scribed Spell bases. Engraved tile floors sporting symbols of mages and members of the occult, all sculpted to print completely support-free on FDM printers, and where possible, have been designed with flat top surfaces to avoid any unsightly layer lines. So whether you want to join our like-minded community, pick up some awesome STLs, or just help support the channel, the Patreon is by far the best way to do so. Links down below. Before slicing, I ran this model through resin to FDM, which just lets me separate the model from the supports. That means the supports can be printed faster, and the printer can use them for color flushing, reducing any unnecessary tool changes. As awesome as Supportless Minis are for ease of printing, you just can't beat the dynamic poses that are possible with supported or multi-part designs. Even with just 4 colors, this mini looks incredible, and with 0 issues printing these delicate supports, I'm actually really impressed. In my opinion, the more open pose and interesting silhouette of this model kind of helped to distract from that more limited color palette, resulting in what I can only call a tabletop-ready miniature. Now, before we talk about waste and print time comparisons and take a look at what some possible next steps might be with these minis, I first want to take a moment to address the U1. In my 1,000 or so hours printing with the U1, I've had great results printing terrain and larger multicolor projects, but I genuinely wasn't sure how it would handle miniatures. Tiny details, constant tool changes, and 0.2mm nozzles felt like the perfect recipe for disaster. And yet, even without really taking the time to dial these new nozzles in, it's been great. Handling something as complex as this advanced FDM Mini damn near flawlessly. If you have been considering picking up one of these printers, now is genuinely a pretty good time to do so. SnapMaker is currently running their 10-year anniversary sale, so a ton of their stuff, including the U1, all have some pretty sweet discounts until around the 10th of July. And I'll leave my affiliate links down below, so if you are considering picking something up, maybe give that link a click. It'll let SnapMaker know that I sent you and help support the channel. But now that we have all of these minis printed up, let's have a quick talk about print times, waste, and where we can go from here. And this is where the tool changer makes such a huge difference. A few months ago, printing multicolor miniatures felt absurd. We were talking about hundreds of grams of waste for a single small model. Now, across all 3 of these prints, the only real waste is the prime towers, and of course the supports for the advanced FDM version. And as we look through here, you'll notice that these towers are all slightly different sizes, just because I was still playing around to see with what worked best. So even this first print could have had a tower closer in size to the last one, and likely wouldn't have affected the print negatively at all. And it's a similar story for print times. As mentioned at the start, pulling down impossibly long print jobs to actually manageable projects. So now that we have all these minis sitting here, there is that one last test I want to run. Let's go ahead, take one of these models, and put a wash on it, to see if it can help to elevate this mini just a little bit further. This is going to start with an all-over varnish to hopefully unify the surface finish a bit, and stop the wash running straight into the layer lines as much as we can. Then I'll take some speed paint, thinned down slightly with airbrush thinner, which I'll use to douse the whole model with enough wash to pull out those details, but taking care not to let it pull too much, wicking some of that paint away with a dry brush where needed. This is just a wash, not the world's best paint job, but it's doing what it needs to. Toning down the saturated PLA, adding some depth to the details, and just creating some much needed interest in the model. No, it's not winning any awards, but it does look much the same as if you painted your army up with the simple base coat and a wash technique that I know a lot of people are totally happy with. So that just leaves us with one question. Do I think multicolor FDM printing is going to replace my miniatures collection? No, I don't. Painting models is one of my favourite parts of this hobby, and I just don't see that changing anytime soon. So for me, I'll be sticking with a brush and paint. But for DMs wanting to print monsters in bulk, players wanting to field armies quickly, or for game stores and print shops wanting to offer something more interesting than grey plastic, I can absolutely see a place for miniatures like these. All that said, multicolor FDM printing has only recently become somewhat accessible, meaning that there are very few people designing for the technology. Sure, assigning colours to these Arbiter Minis goblins was relatively straightforward, but not every model will be. Some models will be an absolute nightmare to paint digitally, especially if they haven't been designed with colour separation in mind. So whether multicolour miniatures become a more common sight might have less to do with our printers at this point, and more to do with whether sculptors are actually interested in the technology. If they're willing to provide files and models designed specifically for multicolour FDM printing. Be sure to subscribe down below for more FDM printing and tabletop projects, like if you liked, but most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.